Welcome in.
That was not Mr. Rogers.
Welcome into No, this is me slowly turning into the Joker, baby. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Jamie Lynch, Renee Washington, Tyler Zulli here with you as an 0-2 count with Bryson Stott is the only thing preventing us from diving right into the post-game show. There's a ball. But our post-game show is brought to you by our wonderful friends at Miller Lite. You can catch us next week at Top Tomato 1 week from tonight, selling $1 Miller Lites, $1 hot dogs, having a blast. 96 calories, always delicious. Phillies suck and lose the game officially now. And, of course, our other sponsor, Bet365. Download the app. Use code PHLY365 to find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. It's official. The Phillies lose the series to the Braves. They go down by a score of 3-2. We are final. The Phillies struck out what feels like 163 times that game. I'm not even sure they made contact outside of the 2 RBI hits. Things are bad. This isn't fun. This offense stinks. Pitching is now keeping you in games again, and the offense is just completely inept. And here we are. Let's talk about it, guys.
Nope.
6 runs.
All right, that's it for our postgame. See you later.
Runs in 3 days. This is a team that was scoring 6 runs in 1 inning at times. It felt like, what the heck has happened with the Phillies offense? Where are they? This is very bad, AC Philla. This is very, very bad. I just don't understand how you actually have your starting pitching and your pitching arms in general, your entire pitching staff in general, I should say, holds the Braves to 3 or less runs each game of this series, and you lose the series. You know when we last were saying this? Back in the beginning of the season. I remember March and April like it was yesterday. Zach Wheeler was 0 for 3 to start the season. Aaron Nola was struggling. We have actually gone back to March when the Phillies offense was non-existent. Their pitching was doing well, but they had no run support. We're getting errors and mistakes and weird fielding plays. And all that's being said is, we'll snap out of it. What the heck? You had the Braves 3 runs or less every game of this series, and you can't even win the series after squeezing out an ugly win yesterday.
I almost got the fruit fly, guys. I missed it again. So if you saw my camera move, that's what it was. Yeah, this is somehow, look, the National Series last week we talked about. That's a bad young baseball team. You didn't feel great about their chances of being back. If they were able to salvage this game tonight and pull out the series versus Atlanta, you'd finally be taking some baby steps towards being a good baseball team again. Is that an icy pop? Wow.
I'm desperate. We're awake.
You got vodka in that icy pop?
No, but
that'd probably be a pretty good drink.
Did you used to microwave your ice pops for like just a few seconds?
No.
You shouldn't put that plastic in the microwave, Renee.
Yes, I did it with all of mine.
Idea.
You do it for like 10 seconds. You don't do it for long. It just gives
Your house is going to burn down. And
then you eat like 4 of them. You can't eat 1. Who just eats 1?
4? This is more interesting than the Phillies game that just happened. I'll give you that. But yeah, well,
wait, nobody did this? You guys never did this. That's
called a fire hazard.
No, you don't do it for long. You literally do it for like 10 seconds. It's not a long time.
Renee, White says, not now. I can't deal with this.
Renee, did you ever try to stick tinfoil in the microwave by any chance? Just curious. Unrelated question.
What were your childhoods? You didn't flush your CDs. You didn't microwave your ice pops. Like, what did you do?
We didn't wash our hands in porta potties.
Apparently, not try to set my house on fire.
I just put all.
Which, by the way, I've done, but but unrelated.
I put all of these in the microwave for literally 10 seconds. It gives it the perfect amount of melt. Look at this. I got the juice. I got
it. Best moment of the night right there. I killed the fruit fly that's been bothering me.
All the talk motivated you.
All right,
Tyler, what's your weird thing? We've got fruit flies over here. I didn't know this was weird. I thought everybody did this.
I'm in a relatively good mood right now. Well, not
if
other than baseball.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm okay. Not baseball wise, I'm not okay, but I'm okay otherwise.
So basically, ever since Bryce Harper did the soccer slide in London, the Phillies are They're dead. They are a bad baseball team. That soccer slide killed the Phillies.
I'm not going to give you correlation to that because I refuse to stoop to that level. However, the baseball since that time has been bad.
Wait. NPTR said you made more contact with the fruit flies than the Phillies.
I left him right here. He's on my desk and he's dead. And I'm just staring at him like, ha.
Our watch along. Jamie's been fighting a fruit fly in his basement for a very long time. And you've been making,
conquered the beast.
You were disciplined. You were aggressive. You made good contact.
I waited for my pitch, unlike the Phillies, who the entire report on the Phillies tonight from the Braves was keep everything low, keep everything below the belt, give them nothing to drive. And guess what? They're going to chase it. And everyone did. It's not good. And, Nick Castellanos fell victim to it. He's been steady as of late. Bryce Harper is making some decent contact here and there. Brandon Marsh is straight up unplayable. I know I'm harping on him all the time now, but it's like it's one of the worst Phillies players I've seen in a long time. Like the guy is just not playable. This offense is terrible. It's horrendous. It's boring. It's unfun to watch. Austin Hayes is getting looked at as a savior in my eyes, and that is bad.
That's as sad as y'all roasted me for microwaving my popsicles.
We just don't want your place to burn down.
We just had to sit through a very torturous few hours of baseball. You got to have something to get you through. I need to tap into my inner child back when things were simpler and bring out the popsicles. But
I'll be honest, when I went upstairs, my mommy, she dropped me off a lemon blueberry pound cake yesterday, and I crammed a slice in real quick.
See?
So I'm with you. A little comfort dessert after that.
You need some snacks. You need some comfort desserts. I wish there was a segue into an ad read. That would have been great. But it is frustrating. You literally had 3 games of non-existent offense, 3 games of you actually got decent pitching, which we've been calling on. We've been wanting the starting pitching to get back consistent, get back to being able to go deep into ball games. They've been doing that. The bullpen, solid. You had Matt Strom yesterday scoreless. You had Carlos Estevez get the save. You had
Carlos Ruiz would put together better at bats than half this team did tonight.
Facts.
It's just, where is the offense? ¿Dónde está? I don't understand how everybody continues to go cold at the same time, and you think that they're starting to work back only for them to look lost at the plate. Undisciplined. They're not playing aggressive. We were actually complaining at one point because they were overly aggressive, trying to steal bags. Their base running was very undisciplined. I would rather them be overly aggressive than look like a deer in the headlights. The season is yours for the taking, and you're choking. You look terrified out there. Where are the Phillies?
Well, like you brought up, we talked about it in the in-game show. The starting pitching this series, they threw 18 innings, right? They all picked up what would be deemed quality starts. They gave up 7 earned runs. I know Nola gave up a handful of hits. I think it was 7 or 8 hits. Sanchez gave up a ton of base runners today, but for the most part, limited the damage. I don't think Sanchez was incredibly sharp today, but he gave you an opportunity to win. Gave you an opportunity to win a game when he didn't have his best stuff. He gave up 3. Nola gave up 2. Wheeler gave up 2. You have an opportunity in each and every one of these games to win these baseball games, because my thought process is at this point, I don't believe, I don't love the quality stat start. We've talked about this before. I think the ERA is just too high for the baseline of a quality stat.
It's a 4.5 ERA, right?
Right. But if your starting pitcher is keeping you, if they go 6 innings and I'm to a point now in baseball where you should win a game where you give up 4 or less. It used to be 3 in my mind. I think with the way that offenses have evolved over time, it should be 4, especially with how many moving parts you have. Like starters aren't going as deep. There's a lot of moving parts in bullpens. You're taxing bullpens a lot more. But the point is, you gave up 3 earned runs or less each of your starters. You had an opportunity in every single one of these games to win this game. And instead of coming out with a series victory, you're walking out with a series defeat. You won one game. Your offense was anemic. They looked lifeless at times. And Jamie, you want to talk about today that there was a clear correlation between a lot of strikeouts and a lot of bad plate approaches and pitch selection, especially from Spencer Schwellenbach. You want to see this?
Yeah, I'd love.
That is an enormous amount of pitches at the knees or below.
It was obvious watching it. To me, a dumbass sitting in Philadelphia. Why was there not some sort of adjustment in game? Some type of, look, I'm not saying, like some kind of talk from the coach of like, hey, guys, let's be disciplined up there. Kevin Long in their ears, whatever it may be, live in the moment. They have those iPads. They go over this stuff. Guys, force him to get something up in the zone. You got to lay off the low stuff until he pipes something for you. And all night, it just felt like Schwellenbach was in control. The Phillies had no chance. They're lifeless. They're emotionless. And it truly is a pathetic offense right now. And it sucks. We were talking about it right after we ended the watch party and before we got into the postgame show. And, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez give you 18 innings and 5 runs allowed, and you lose 2 of 3. And the bullpen was spectacular last night and gave you a chance to win the game. Bullpen for the most part tonight was tremendous.
They gave up 1 run the entire series.
Yeah. I mean, the pitching gave you a chance. The offense is killing this team right now.
Correct. Again, that is what we saw back in March. Well, March was 3 games against the Braves. We saw that especially in April. That was the common theme that we were always fussing about. Why were we seeing the starting pitching going 6, 7, 8 innings, the bullpen being lights out? They had the best ERA in baseball. They were fantastic, but the Phillies offense was non-existent. Why do you have a series like this where you have a chance to extend your lead in the NL East? Instead, now it's a 6-game lead against the Braves. You have 6 total runs scored in the series, and you now are walking out of Truist Park with your tail between your legs. And as you mentioned, Jamie, all they had to do was make an adjustment. If they at least made some sort of change instead of every game literally looking like a copy paste. Did we need to watch 3 games of the same thing over and over again? No. But the Phillies never made a change from game 1 to 2 to 3, and you allowed yourselves to lose by this and make the same mistakes repeatedly. That is something that has been my biggest frustration when you look at last season and the NLCS especially, that the Phillies in big moments do not make adjustments. We had seen that March, April, May, June. It was getting better as the season progressed until the All-Star break. And now they're back to being a team that can't sprinkle in small ball, can't figure out how to be disciplined at the plate, stop swinging at these pitches. Everybody has figured out how to pitch to the Phillies, yet the Phillies haven't figured out how to adjust their hitting. Like, when do you make adjustments, and how many games are we going to continue talking about the same issues of Brandon Marsh and Bryce Harper struggling, looking injured, and the offense not showing up, and the team looking lifeless, and you're steady dropping games? And the calendar continues to move on, and now we're almost into September, and we're still having the same problem. Maddening.
Yeah, it really, really is. And we talked about it during our watch-along show tonight. A couple comments in the chat. I never want to see Weston Wilson play third again. Same. He was a butcher. He was a left fielder. He may be able to be an emergency spot utility man, but third base is not for him. Alec Boehm got the night off, most likely because his 36 game, on base streak ended, and it was just like a good night to give him a night off every once in a while. And yes, and to the other point, I forget who it said. Is Bryce Harper up there batting for everyone? No, it's pretty much. Look, there's 3 guys I excuse over the past month in totality offensively, and that is Nick Castellanos, that is Alec Boehm, and that is Johan Rojas. The other 6, 7 guys all have culpability in this. I mean, Trey Turner and Bryce Harper, as far as superstars go, and they are that, and I've been told that Bryce is more hurt than is let on. For superstars, they go into funks for longer than most. And I believe Bryce is hurt right now. Trey is kind of come out of the funk, but superstar MVP caliber players do not go into 4-week-long slumps very often. That's just not something that happens. And it feels like now At least with Trey, it's been up, down, down. It's just constant, and it's really frustrating right now.
By the way, you're talking about Alec Bowman and the him sitting today. He has not had a day off since June 15th. That was the Phillies' 70th game of the season. It was his 68th game of the season. Tonight was the Phillies' 127th game of the year. He's played 124. He has not had a night off in almost 3 months. Or almost 2 months, excuse me. I have no issue with him having a night off tonight. It's unfortunate that he's one of your two guys that are hitting well, because it really hamstrings your lineup. However, again, this kind of gets back to you gave up 3 earned runs. Your pitching was good. Limited the damage. Even when Sanchez wasn't particularly strong, they limited the damage. I can't be, at fault for a decision to give a guy off who hasn't had a night off in 2 months when the offense continues to be lifeless.
It's just a shame because he is the only guy that has been giving you, alongside Nick Castellanos, consistent at bats. And it is that balance of, I'm sure, like not wanting to ice him out and rest him and mess up his routine, but also wanting to keep him fresh. It shouldn't rely on whether or not one guy has a day off. Like Alec Bohm should be able to take off today. You have Edmundo Sosa. You have Weston Wilson. You have Cal Stevenson. You have other guys that you can slot into roles, whether it's left field, third base, center field, second base, shortstop. The Phillies do not have to lean on anybody any day. Nick Castellanos is the only one that we really don't have a true backup for. But if needed, they can figure that out too. So everybody has an option. There's nobody that has to be out there. And I think for whatever reason, it feels like Rob is leaning too heavily on guys that have not deserved to be out there every day. And I know we keep talking about Brandon Marsh, but even Bryce Harper, if Bryce Harper is hurt, and it's been weeks of this, and we talked about this in the watch along, Bryce Harper's numbers since July, when he came back in that Dodgers series, have been bad. If he's not healthy, how is he helping you? What makes it okay? We keep wanting him to just get out of the slump. He's not getting out of the slump. He's not looking good. So can you give him maybe a week off? I don't even know at this point, hell, whatever it takes to get him back, because at this pace, you're going to make, if it is an injury, I don't imagine it's drastically getting better by still playing through it. And now his confidence is, he's awful out there. And he doesn't look anything like the Bryce Harper that was back-to-back player of the month. He doesn't look anything like MVP, all-star level Bryce Harper. And it's contagious because it's going through the rest of the team. You need to put guys out there. I don't care who they are, how much money they're getting paid. Rob's got to lean on the guys that want to play and that are giving you something. And if it's not Bryce Harper, I hate to say that myself, he's got to sit until we can figure out what's going on with Bryce. If it's not Brandon, you got to figure things out. You can't sit everybody, but someone's got to sit down. You can't keep rolling out with these guys that are.
Yeah, I mean, the easy answer there is Brandon Marsh. Austin Hayes should be with the team either in Kansas City this weekend, I'm assuming, or at worst versus Atlanta back home next week. And as I said earlier, if you're counting on Austin Hayes as some kind of savior for you, you're down real bad. But you know where you're not down bad? That's when you go over to your beer fridge and you reach in, and what's looking back at you? A cold, frosty, delicious can of only 96-calorie Miller Lite. It's the original light beer. That's why. Since 1975, craft brews have come and gone. People have tinkered and put watermelon and foo-foo fruits in beer. There's lactose in beer. And then there's Miller Lite, who goes, we know what people want. That's a great tasting beer that's less filling and only 96 calories. They've held on to what matters most, and they've gotten rid of everything else that isn't needed, and they just kind of perfected it. And it's the best light beer. And to this day, since 1975, it's still the best one. It has great taste and is less filling. It's both. It legit is both. It's less filling. It's great. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and just gives you what you want. A beer that tastes like a beer should taste. And you don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, go to MillerLite.com/PHLY Phillies. Or you can just find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
And while we're talking about excitement and fun things, there's one place you can go to always have some fun, and that's over at Bet Park Sportsbook, where they've got the chance for you to have a seat at the table from wherever. You could be sitting in your homes like we are right now. You can be hanging on the beach. You can be sitting out at a game. Wherever you are, you can always have the Bet Park Sportsbook app right on your phone and be able to play live games like live roulette, blackjack with a live dealer, plus hundreds of exciting online slots. And proudly with Bet Parks, they also just give you the fact that it is the only online casino and sports betting app that you can use and take advantage of to be able to have chances to work with some of the best games and even be able to bet and be a part of the action of the PGA Tour, because Bet Parks is a proud official betting operator of the PGA Tour. The Bet Parks app has a ton of ways to bet on PGA golf, whether it's betting players, matches, top finishers, and more. And as you're going through watching all the sports that we love, baseball, soccer, tennis, golf, whatever it is, Bet Parks has the opportunity that when you download the app, you can enjoy all the action and the excitement from the casino right at your fingertips. How's that for convenience? Odds, bets, slots, and games right in your pocket. And a great offer for new users today, that as a new user, when you download the BetParks online casino and sportsbook app right now, you can get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. That's right. Casino bonus must be wagered. BetParks.com for more details so you can get started, and know that you've got to be 21 and in the states of either Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio, or Michigan. And if you do have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You love to play, you play to win, you bet at Bet Parks.
All right, we talked about it the other day. John Middleton, I want to circle back on these comments he made because I saw somebody in the chat, and excuse me, I lost your name as I was re-looking up the Todd Zolecki article so I could get the quote right. I'm not. Oh, it's MBDF. Said Middleton is clearly not pleased. I want to read the comments to Todd Zolecki from the weekend about this and circle back on this conversation, because no, John Middleton is not pleased, and he basically let Todd Zolecki know that a lot of it, in his opinion, reading between the lines here, is on Rob Thompson. Here's the quote. And again, Todd Zolecki's piece on MLB.com from August 19th, 3 days ago. I don't think you can sit there and say, oh, well, this has happened, and therefore we'll turn it around. I don't think you can be that passive. I think you have to be pushing people to rethink what they've been doing. That's coaches and that's players. Everybody has to step back and say, what are we doing wrong? Why is a team that had a winning clip of 700 or 70% for 3.5 months now playing at a 325 clip for the last 5 weeks? The quote continues. The good news is Dave Dombrowski's been through a lot of wars. He's seen not just his teams, but other teams like the Diamondbacks and Rangers go through these periods. He's a smart guy. He has high standards. He just doesn't accept people who do their jobs well. So he's pushing everybody. That's what needs to happen. Have you noticed any changes in Rob's approach in the past 3 days? Now, Weston Wilson did get the opportunity versus a righty tonight, but it came at the cost of Alec Boehm, one of your stalwarts of offense this year, your most consistent player, your team MVP this year, in all likelihood. So you then put Weston Wilson at third and let Brandon Marsh hit versus a righty, because a lefty has to play versus a righty, even though said righty has better number versus righties than Brandon Marsh does versus righties. Look, this isn't all Rob Thompson's fault. I don't even think Kevin Long is that much to blame. This is a player's issue, but he is in a hamster wheel right now and he has no answers. And I think John Middleton is pissed. I think he's embarrassed. And if this season ends the way it's heading right now, Rob Thompson 100% will not be the Phillies manager in 2025.
It's crazy to think that we're having this conversation right now with where we were at one point with the Phillies, but this is the reality. You cannot have each season with, as the expectations have increased and risen for the Phillies, the delivery of how they've played has dropped off. From the World Series to now, and in 2 seasons, have we seen progression? Have we seen changes? No, we're getting the same frustration.
Brandon Marsh is still playing baseball.
The same errors, the same rotations rolling out of your batting lineup, your lineup and everything. There have not been any legitimate moves made. And today I'm wondering if that move to put Weston Wilson at third base, now seeing unfortunately how bad he was at third base, is a cop-out. Look, I tried. We tried something different. Everybody wants to tweak the lineup. We tried something different. It didn't work. Why would you possibly put Weston Wilson at third base when you have an Edmundo Sosa, when you have Alec Bohm even playing well? And again, I'm fine with him getting the day off, but Weston Wilson's not the answer. It just makes no sense.
No, Weston Wilson is the answer in left field, not at third base.
I'm sorry. He's the answer. Like, everybody's saying Weston Wilson should get more opportunities. And even Rob was saying we want to get Weston Wilson more opportunities. The opportunities don't mean let's just throw him anywhere and set him up to fail. And now you're getting mistakes that are bad errors because he just doesn't know how to play third base. He just shouldn't be there. And so I don't like the fact that we continuously are seeing they have the talent. This group is talented. They've got the incredible, from their starting pitching to the bullpen to, all the way through their lineup. They have the talent. It's your job to manage them. No, Rob's not out there pitching or hitting or catching for anybody, but it is his job to manage this team. And they right now are not getting managed well. And a lot of it is errors, late game tactics, lineups, decision-making that starts at the top. So back to John Middleton's comments earlier this week, I imagine if, like you said, Jamie, if things do not drastically get better, and I don't know what the exact bar is, like, I'm not saying it's World Series or nothing, but this team, if they don't,
I would say a minimum of NLCS or his job down the line.
Yeah, you definitely cannot be a first round exit. Like, if this team,
first round, he's gone. If they lose in the first round, it's done.
It's a wrap. And I think that's rightfully so, honestly.
See, here's my thing. I am not in lockstep with you on the fact that, like, the idea of, like, they've seen things, similar things for the last 2 years and what has changed. Because here's the thing. They've not needed that change for 2 years, because if we go back chronologically, Rob Thompson gets hired. Joe Girardi is in has his team in a dreadful situation. Rob Thompson and the team, right, with a bunch of talent, rights the ship, figures things out. They struggle in July. They surge in August. They make the playoffs. They go on this unprecedented run where they're down to their final 3 outs in game 1 of a wild card round to a Cardinals team that looked like was better than them. They win that game. They go on to win the next. They win the NLDS. They win the NLCS. They go to the World Series. They get beat by a team that's better than them. The Houston Astros were a better baseball team than them in 2022. Yeah. It was great that they got there.
It's beautiful.
It was great that they got there. They ran into a buzzsaw. The following year, they basically run back a similar iteration of the team with the addition of Trey Turner. Trey Turner plays poorly defensively, struggles for a bulk of the year. You could talk about the standing ovation, but he succeeds in September. They get back to the playoffs. They beat the Braves again. They falter in the NLCS, and the cracks and the issues begin to emerge where you see, okay, their chase rate is too high. The Diamondbacks game plan for them and effectively shut them down and outplayed them for the final 3 games of a NLCS in which 2 of them were home and you only had to win 1. That was the first time that I felt that there was something that could have been addressed in terms of approach, in terms of construction. But the reality of the situation was they went to a World Series. They were a game within a World Series. Should they have been back to the World Series? Yeah, probably. They did that to themselves. They did that to themselves of not being back in a World Series for a second consecutive time. This year, you start 45-20. You have the best start in one of the best starts in franchise history. You're amongst the upper echelon teams. You are extending your division lead further and further and further as the Braves sink in May and June. And you get to a point now where this is the first time that I think that a call for significant lineup change is warranted.
So
all of that to say that the idea of they've like banged their head against a brick wall for 2 years, I don't believe is entirely, or 3 years now, I don't believe is entirely true. I think this is the first year that they've run into this problematic issue after what we saw in the NLCS.
Yeah, it's PTSD carrying over. So to address some of the comments in the chat, we by no means are saying that this is a squarely a Rob Thomson issue. I believe Rob Thomson is a good baseball manager. I think most of us probably as a whole agree Rob Thomson is a very good baseball manager. Sometimes you can only repeat trusting your guys so much. And sometimes the job of a baseball manager is to sit a Trey Turner on a Wednesday night last week and say, you've been dog shit, dude. We got to give you a night off. And why Brandon Marsh? Like, to me, that is the biggest issue. I think it's coward managing for Brandon Marsh since June 1st to, God, he's going to be up near 50% of the time as an automatic strikeout, not putting the ball in play, not advancing runners, to have him play on a almost nightly basis. And I know the Austin Hayes injury changed that, but Weston Wilson is here and Weston Wilson is putting the ball in play. And Weston Wilson helped win you a game the other night. To not sit Brandon Marsh right now, I think is a critical error by Rob Thomson. Sometimes the job of a manager is just to shake the room up and jostle the lineup. And guess what? Good managers have been fired before, and good managers will be fired again. The manager is only as good as your players, and the reality is the players are failing the Phillies. Offensively, they are lost. I heard Larry Anderson talking the other day. He doesn't think they have an approach when they come to the plate. He doesn't think they're playing good situational offensive baseball. I completely agree with all of that. And, if they fail, Rob Thomson will probably be the fall man. Maybe some more coaches fall with him, but ultimately it's the players that cost him his job. Bryce Harper has been the worst 2-month stint we've seen as a Philly. If he's hurt, great. You should have gone to the IL at this point. Trey Turner, way too many ups and downs. Kyle Schwarber gets on base at a great clip right now, but when the 2 and 3 hole hitter aren't doing anything with the on base, what does it matter? Brandon Marsh, not an everyday player. Bowman, Castellanos have been consistent. Rojas is really taking steps in the right direction. But this lineup is crap. And Bryson Stott has failed you this year as a piece that you really thought was a cornerstone, foundational, young, cheap piece for this team. So Rob Thomson, not to fully blame, but somebody's going to be the scapegoat here. And that's where the conversation comes from, because John Middleton in those comments basically called out his mantra of, it'll be fine. We'll hit our way out of this.
Well, and that's why
my concern to both of your points is when you look back, and Tyler, as you were just taking us back through the history, going back to the World Series run, that was unexpected. Rob comes in and gets this group playing really good baseball. They make a deep run. They get to the World Series. Did anybody expect that? No. And then the next season, there was the expectation coming off of that World Series run that, okay, they got there. They ran up against a really good Astros team. Let's learn from it, get back. They got all the way to the NLCS and fell short. This season, what it feels like is each season we are actually regressing in when the fall off is happening. Because now they started off the season with this historic, everybody's having all these records that they're breaking since the start of the modern era, since all of baseball, in the history of the club. And now you hit a wall at the All-Star break. So we're moving in the wrong direction. If anything, it should be the opposite. You should be getting better each season. You're adding a Trey Turner. You're adding more pieces. You're extending guys. Like, you bring back Aaron Nola. You're extending all the way through Zach, and everyone's getting these great, contracts and all the acquisitions that are being made to add to the talent you had last season. Yet it's getting worse. Yet the issues that we're seeing are not changing. And this is embarrassingly bad baseball right now. And to have this big of a fall from where you started to now being a team on pace to win 92 games, to now being a team that's the worst in baseball since the All-Star break, it's completely unacceptable. And you can't continue to sit back and just say, things will get better. One day it'll click. And that's why my gripes are with Bryce Harper and Brandon Marsh playing so much, because if Bryce Harper is injured right now, it is selfish for him to still be playing. He's not playing well. He needs to sit. He needs to get healthy. If there's something else going on there, stress at home, whatever it is, they got to figure that out because the Bryce Harper we're seeing right now is not helping this team. And this team needs Bryce Harper. And they're not going to be able to be a team, forget World Series or NLCS. They're not getting past whatever the first round is, whether they're in first round bye or not, if they don't have Bryce Harper playing better. So you have to get him right. You can win games with or without Brandon Marsh. You're not winning those big games when it counts with or without Bryce Harper. So I do not love that Brandon Marsh is out there too. Both of those problems have to get fixed ASAP. Austin Hayes, Taijuan Walker, Ranger Suarez, all the injured guys are supposed to be getting healthy, coming back soon. But it starts with your big names. It starts with someone like Bryce.
Well, and that's why, like, I think every time, and not just us, I'm talking about baseball, Phillies conversation around this town in general recently has been, if you pinpoint a player or two, then somewhere down the line, somebody's going to go, well, why is player Z getting a pass, right? You pinpoint X and X and Y,
like
and Y is play. So right. So here's what I'm going to lay out, because I think this is just an overarching sense of dread right now with this team, and rightfully so. Over the last month plus now, Bryce Harper has been basically terrible. Had a nice little run.
Since he came back from his injury, his hamstring injury.
Had a nice little run in that national series. I think picked up like 4 or 5 hits in that series.
He went 5 of 16, I believe.
Yeah, but basically since then has been dreadful. Kyle Schwarber had a lull recently that he stunk coming out of the All-Star break, caught fire, and is kind of back into a little bit of a valley. That's Kyle Schwarber. It's going to tend to happen, but right now he's not swinging a great bat either. Bryson Stott has been basically in one of the weirdest, worst regressions I've seen in a long, long time. As you mentioned, Jamie, from a contributor to a competitive team from last year to this year, his at-bats have been basically dreadful all season long. Brandon Marsh, we've chronicled. He's been awful in the second half specifically. Strikeout rates are through the roof. He can't hit right now. JT Realmuto, especially since coming back from the All-Star break, I know he drove a run in today, but his gap power has sapped. He doesn't hit the ball into the gaps anymore. He's not driving the ball the opposite way. He's really, really struggling. He was like 0 for 25 against left-handed pitchers until he picked up a hit against Max Fried the other night. Do I need to continue to go on? Basically, what I'm trying to get at
it's the whole team.
Is sans Alec Bohm, who's been pretty much rock steady all season long, been great this entirety of this year. Nick Castellanos from the back end of May until now has been really, really good. We talked about him raising his average from 198 to basically 250 this past week. Those two guys have been consistent from May until now. The rest of the offense has been marred in this disgusting slump. And so for the why are we making excuses for player Z crowd, and I'm not saying anybody in particular, there's your overarching conversation about this team. The offense stinks right now, and it's 6 or 7 guys on basically any given night.
For a while there, it was both the pitching and the offense that stunk. And that was really the funk coming out of the All-Star break, was everything went bad. The bullpen went bad. The starting pitching went bad. The offense went bad. And now you're getting good starting pitching again. You're seemingly getting, for the most part, pretty good bullpen work, at least over the last week to 10 days. So those are turning the corner, and the offense is still dead. People in the chat are saying it's just lifeless and dead offense, and it is.
No one wants to hear this right now, but shout out my guy, Jose Ruiz. He's been really good since the All-Star break.
No.
Yeah, he hasn't allowed an earned run.
I have a question to pose
no
to
one
you guys.
No one wants to hear that right now.
I have a question to pose to you guys after our break, but ultimately it has been it's just frustrating because I know we keep talking about one guy here, one guy there, but it is the entire offense. It's everyone. Nick and Alec have been the only two that have been playing well. And of course, Alec needed a day off today. The pitching looks like they're getting back to where they were before. The bullpen also, especially as they're getting some more rest and not getting called upon in the 3rd or 4th inning and being overused, they're going to settle in. We see it. It's happening. Some slower than others. Jose Alvarado, we're looking at you, but their overuse has been an issue. But I do have a question for you guys after this.
They could use somebody like this on the team right now. Somebody that could just hit a nice little gap double, a little single, take what the pitcher gives them, and then just go into the gap. And you know what else? Watching this Phillies game tonight, All right down here in my own home, my salvation, my little piece of earth. I considered walking over to my closet and punching a big hole in it because if I saw another one,
Please
two,
don't do
three,
that.
if I saw another 1, 2, 3 inning, I was thinking about doing some damage to my basement down here. And if I did decide to do that, I'm somewhat handy, but I'm not that handy. I would probably lean on the people at Ace Home Services to fix up my house because, look, I'm an idiot, and sometimes you take on projects that are, a little above your pay grade there. Maybe you got a leaky pipe. Maybe you have 3 girls living in your house, and there's always drainage problems in the shower and tub. Maybe
Hey,
it's hey, you women be shedding, Renee. My
leave
God.
it alone.
Always got clogged pipes here. Maybe it's an air conditioning issue. Maybe it's that leaky faucet that's been bothering you from forever. So if it's plumbing, heating, cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. I love my Ace True Value home store. I go to the one in Orland or sometimes over in Lafayette Hill, and they're great. And they're great stores. They know the answer to everything in there. They're always there to help you. Well, they can take care of your house too because they provide services. Just visit acehardwarehomeservices.com and you can get started, excuse me, on your next project. So visit them right now and tell them PHLY sent you. I think I got another fruit fly. I need Ace to come back. I think there's another one.
You know what,
Now
Jamie?
I'm thinking one of the girls left like a banana peel under the couch or something. Like
Probably
what
it
the
could
hell
be
is
that,
going on?
or it could maybe be, do you have full allergies? Because there are
Maybe.
some allergies that people are dealing with this time of season, whether it's plants such as sagebrush, tumbleweed, or pigweed, dust mites, pet dander, and fur. Fall allergies are here. They start in August and they run all the way through November. And with our friends over at Rite Aid, they have lots of options for you to prepare to make sure you don't have to deal with the watery eyes, the sniffles, the runny nose, the coughing, and everything else that comes with your allergies. Now, with Rite Aid, they provide you a chance. You can sign up for their Rite Aid rewards emails at riteaid.com/rewards. They will send you emails.
The allergies get me. I need a Rite Aid in my house.
I'm trying to be serious here. They will send you updates and emails with pollen alerts and things such as using a dehumidifier, showering frequently. Jamie, go shower.
I shower
Checking your
twice a day.
pollen counts, checking your pollen counts in the area, but also little tips and advice for you to be able to work through the allergy season. They also have over-the-counter options at Rite Aid, whether it's a nasal rinse or decongestants and antihistamines that can help as well as you're dealing with the flare-ups and your symptoms just bothering you, making it a nightmare to get through the day. So with Rite Aid, in addition to their rewards emails, their over-the-counter medications, they also have pharmacists that are on site ready to help answer any questions you have and talk you through whatever you're looking for in the aisles of Rite Aid. They've got you. And it's not just their fall allergy medications and over-the-counter medications, I should say. It's everything that Rite Aid has. You can run there and grab some hydrating drinks if you want to get some coconut water or maybe some snacks. Maybe you want to get some delicious popsicles or something else from Rite Aid like sunscreen or last minute deodorant or mouthwash. Rite Aid has lots for you. At our friends at Rite Aid, they always have your back with whatever it is you need to get through the day. It's the right choice.
All right, Renee, you said you got.
Do they sell Everclear?
I don't know if that's
That's
legal.
what I think that's what we're at the point we might need that at this point.
Yeah, we are.
Yes. Frank, good night, Frank. So long, farewell. All right, here's my question.
We don't need singing. Go ahead.
Who on the Phillies has come back from injury better?
Is there an answer to this question?
Is this a true or false question?
Is it rhetorical?
Has anybody?
Is there a word bank?
JT did not come back better, although it does look like he's turned a corner. Harper did not. JT did not.
I
Trey
mean, Trey Turner did. Trey was solid in June.
He was.
Well, and then he went into a funk again. But he won Player of the Month after returning. So I think that's
he was.
Is that the only one? Is that the only one?
Zach Wheeler, AC Phillies saying in the chat with a question mark. I would say from his back spasm. He had a back spasm.
Missed one start. I don't know if
I mean,
would consider that coming back from injury.
So that's one start is more than just like one day.
Well, but yeah, it's 5 games.
Correct. The point is, when you think about the guys that have gotten hurt, we saw Kyle Schwarber hurt his groin. We saw Trey Turner with his hamstring. Bryce Harper with his hamstring.
So what was the answer? Trey Turner?
Trey Turner is the only one that actually was like out for a significant time and came back better. Everybody else has come back worse. Kyle Schwarber's been okay. Like, I don't say he's been awful, but where we saw Kyle Schwarber, he started off the season moving faster. We saw slim, speedier Schwarber. We saw him with, the leadoff home runs, and he just had a much better start. His splits were better. But since coming back from his groin injury, he's been very up and down. Marsh has been bad since getting back from his hamstring. Harper's been bad. JT's been struggling. I'm not saying the injuries are the problem, but the common denominator is everybody that's been injured. Are they rushing back? Are they really not ready? Are they maybe jumping back? Like Taijuan Walker, the first time he came back was not good. They rushed him back until he got a blister. The Phillies, I feel like, are they rushing guys back because of how well they've been playing or had been playing? And it was like, oh, they'll be fine. We'll just get them back out there. I feel like and AC Phillips in the chat, I feel like they are. I'm not saying they can control injuries, MBDBDBF. I feel like the Phillies have been rushing guys back. Everybody's come back and regressed. And you don't mind that for like the first couple games back.
Oh, I think that's natural.
No, I mean, naturally, when you first come back, you got to get back into a routine. But
as Bailey says, Taijuan stunk before the injury too. Also, that is a big qualifier.
There's always an exception to every rule. Bryce Harper has not gotten out of it yet. Like, we still have not seen Brandon Marsh get back to where he was before with Stay Loose and Sexy. We still haven't seen a consistent Trey Turner all season. I'm not blaming the injuries for everybody that's confused. The point is, I feel like they rushed back. They were not fully ready. And this team feels like they hit a wall because guys are overused and overextended. That was the point of my question.
I think you can't entirely, like, I think that to an extent that, yeah, maybe one or two guys were brought back earlier than necessitated. However, you can look at teams like the Braves tonight who have been decimated by injuries all year and, have hung around enough where, you have the ability to start Whit Merrifield and Ramon Laureano and still win ball games and still win series. The Houston Astros were crushed with injuries early in the season to their pitching staff. Their
Orioles ass tonight.
The pitching, the Astros pitching at the beginning of the year was downright dreadful, like historically bad. And they have been on a kind of a tear since the early portions of June. To your point, like, yes, there's especially we've talked about the soft tissue injuries all the time. Like, it's why having Edmundo Sosa play as well as he did in Trey Turner's absence was so important, because it allowed you to bring Trey Turner back, walk him back at a slower pace than
and he's the only one that came back that was really good when he came back, and we didn't have to rush him back.
I don't think that you can, just say that it's going to be, rushing them back, because first of all, like, if they got cleared and they say they're cool, then they're going to get back out and play. And then the inverse too is, like, these guys are, they're professional athletes. Like, they want to be out on the field. Unless your name's Anthony Rendon, you want to be on the field. I just think that, like, we can put some stock into them being injured and coming back, but I don't think it's as all encompassing as, the spin zone would like it to be.
I think with the Phillies issues, it's not one specific thing you can pinpoint of, like, what went wrong, what did they do that they should change. But I do feel like when you add all these things together, because AC Phillies and Chalice mentioned, like, they are also just getting older. Like, you have a lot of 30 plus guys that have more than just their actual physical age have played a lot of baseball. And so I feel like when you combine some of these factors, it does lead you to a slump. To your point, Tyler, a lot of teams, including the Braves, are decimated with injuries, and they're still playing well because they still have that same passion, fire, hunger. The Phillies, who had the next man up mentality in the bulk of the start of the season, don't even have a next player up right now mentality. Forget next man up. Where is the man? Like, where is anybody? So it's the mentality shift that has happened that now has them completely hitting a wall. But it does feel like it's been a slow progression of it as the season goes on. The team's been progressively moving in the wrong direction. And so I'm starting to think, like, where did we start to see the changes? Some of those changes honestly happen around the injuries. And injuries are going to happen. I'm not an idiot. But how are you coming back out of those injuries? What's your rehab? What's your work back looking like? Are you 100% ready to go? Are you coming back like Trey did, fired up, hitting 10 home runs in July for Player of the Month? Again, I'm just grasping at straws here, but everybody that is struggling, Nick hasn't missed significant time. Alec hasn't missed significant time. Everybody that is struggling, they have been guys that have been plagued with injuries, and it does make me wonder, were they 100% or were they maybe, something else going on there? Don't know. It's just bad.
You want the good news?
Oh boy.
Are you guys sitting down?
Is there any good news right now?
Oh yeah, Tyler, there's good news.
Is that this post game's almost over?
Oh, I know the good news. Adorable Rangers starting off against Kansas City.
Well, that would be the non-funny good news. I was going to say the good news is Taijuan Walker's next up.
Oh.
That's sarcastic. That's not good news.
We did announce the starting rotation, and your guy Ranger is also back.
Well, that is the actual good news. But yes, you get the, consistently hot Kansas City Royals now. Tough place to play. One of Tyler's dream vacations in Major League Baseball. You want to get
you know I'm psyched to get down
big
to
Kaufman guy.
Well, I do want to go to Kaufman, but I was going to say more just to Kansas City in general.
It's cool. I've been there for Chiefs games before in my NBC days. Good barbecue. It's not bad. It's not a bad town. I mean, it's cool. But unfortunately, the Royals are 7-3 in their last 10. They have this guy Bobby Witt Jr., who, if it wasn't for Aaron Judge being absolutely freakishly inhuman, would be the AL MVP almost in most years. But Aaron Judge is doing Thanos type stuff with a baseball bat. So you got Taijuan Walker going into Kauffman Stadium tomorrow night. You excited? Because we're going to be on doing a post-game show, guys.
Yeah,
Taijuan Walker versus the Red Hot Royals. How you feeling?
So
Let's
sad
break
to
it
say
down.
that I'm not going to be on that post-game show tomorrow. I'm so bummed. Oh, I'm so upset.
Oh, it's just me and Tyler tomorrow?
It's just you two.
Well, actually, it's just you. Renee snapped, and I was part of the blip.
Oh.
I am terrified. I'm so glad that we get to see the return, as Rob was sharing post-game of the updates for the rotation. Not only are we getting the return of Taijuan and Ranger, but everyone in the rotation is getting an extra day of rest. We know what extra day of rest Zach Wheeler brings. That doesn't make
Sunday's going to be who exactly?
So
probably Colby Allard, if they call anybody up.
The plan right now that Rob is oh my God, I can't speak words. Potentially what Rob is sharing is that the Phillies are trying to get every starter an extra day of rest. So instead of Zach starting on Sunday, yes, he will make his start on Monday at home against the Astros.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be Zach. Yeah.
So yes, that does mean
Yikes.
Oh, by the way, my teams keep letting me down. I see that Georgia Southern flag in the profile picture.
Yeah,
you don't need to LOL at us right now. We're LOLing at this team enough. This team is dreadful right now. You're right. They didn't see Sale.
Wait, there's a Gasto fan in here?
Played a bottom feeder lineup and lost 2 out of 3.
So I saw the troll. Basically, you ever see that Sports Talk ATL Twitter account? It pops up and just makes bad comments. And their tweet tonight that Phillies fans are not even arguing because we're down so bad right now. It was like, if the Braves weren't injured, this would be another 15+ game series lead in the NL East. And I'm like, yeah, sure, maybe, whatever. I don't care. Sports Talk ATL. Enjoy peacocking around down 7 games when you've lost to us the last 2 years. I don't really get your point, but the Phillies suck and nobody's got any fight left in them, including Phillies fans on Twitter. They're just like, Yeah, we suck.
I'm not fighting it. I'm not fighting anything right now. This team's dreadful right
You guys
now.
aren't excited about like Sunday being either a bullpen game or somebody getting called up. I know Colby Allard's name was brought into the mix. You're not thrilled by this?
Not only all that, Renee, but you know who's pitching on Sunday for Kansas City? Seth Lugo.
Who's been struggling a little bit as of late, luckily. He wasn't, when we talked about him like a month and a half, 2 months ago, he was up there, Cy Young. But I think his last 3 starts, he's gotten hit a little bit.
Does that matter?
No. Everybody doesn't play.
Unfortunately, it doesn't.
Maybe right now I'm getting to a point where I put the ball on the tee and let them hit and see what happens.
Correct. Every matchup, I feel like one of us is saying, "Oh, this pitcher's been struggling as of late. This team's been struggling. Their offense has been struggling," and they come out against the Phillies and they look like World Series champs. Like they look like they're the best team in Major League Baseball.
All right. Well, the positive, if there is any, hopefully it's gotten better. My personal positive would be that Rob Thompson has seen enough from Brandon Marsh's pathetic at-bats tonight and goes, all right, I can't do this. But the real positive is hopefully Rangers back to being Ranger on Saturday. And, the Phillies are going to make the playoffs. They're probably still going to win the division. If the Phillies are going to make any noise, obviously the offense has to come back. But I think the true X factor in this, if they right the ship, is Ranger Suarez. That game 3 in a playoff series after your 2 horses go is huge. And if Ranger can be Ranger, you can, maybe start to get some hope back. So, Ranger, please, my sweet, darling Ranger, be okay and come back Saturday and look like Ranger Suarez again.
Yeah.
You're asking a lot from a guy who
returning from injury,
who hasn't pitched in a long time, and also too,
he's probably only going to go 85 pitches, probably 5 innings.
Right. Also too, not only on top of that, but we talked about this plenty. Like in June, who was pushing his innings cap prior to going down with an injury. You're asking a lot from that guy. We all
desperate times, Tyler.
You entrust this guy with your life, especially when it comes playoff time. He's lights out, and I think we all hope for the best. But I have to temper my expectations for a return start for a guy who hasn't pitched in, what's going on what now? 5 weeks?
Yeah, probably a month and a half.
Yeah. Yep, he's been rehabbing. He's been working back, but it's a lot.
I know, but it's the only positive I can hang my hat on right now is
I got a positive. You killed that fly.
I did get the one. I feel like another one's around though.
Oh no!
Now it's just in your head.
Yeah, it might be. It might be.
Never mind. Not a positive. Yeah, in the chat, I figured I'm seeing all the discussion about will they make the playoffs? Will they?
Yeah, I think
they're
they definitely will. I'm joking. They will. But
I wonder what the Fangraphs playoff chance is right now. Let's take a look.
Oh,
go ahead, Renee, while I look it up.
Okay. That's all I got. I don't have anything positive to add, actually.
Don't want to anymore.
So the Phillies.
That's all I got was that you killed the fly.
The Phillies, according to Fangraphs, playoff percentage chances is still at 99.3. Their World Series percentage odds, still one of the best in baseball at 12.1.
Do we think that they should have kept Rafael Marchand or Cody Clemens a little bit more?
That's a 6-hour podcast for another day, Renee.
Yeah, no, we're not talking about that.
Not a question out there at the end, but it was brought up in the chat. I was just reading. Dom asked it earlier. Somebody else asked it and mentioned Marchand. There's
things that are reality that we have to accept, and there are things that are the right thing to happen that aren't realistic. And Rafael Marchand staying on this team was not realistic. Was it the right thing? Absolutely. But it wasn't reality. And Garrett Stubbs, after this year, will likely be gone as long as Marchand stays healthy. We'll see him next year as the backup catcher, but a backup catcher isn't going to help you at all in the playoffs, barring an injury. So that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you for commiserating with us, everybody here, everybody that joined our watch along tonight. Thank you to our great partners at Miller Lite and Bet365. Find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code PHLY365. And always, when you're enjoying a nice, cold, refreshing light beer, make it a Miller Lite because it's the best since 1975 to this day. Still the best one. Renee, for the love of God, promise me and everyone in this chat that you will stop microwaving plastic.
No.
Please.
What's the worst that will happen?
Your house will burn down.
Your house will burn down and you will
10
die.
seconds of these bad boys in the microwave gives you a long-lasting treat.
Why not just leave it out? Like, let it sit.
Long. It takes too long. Who's waiting for that? Microwave your popsicles for 10 seconds and thank me later. No longer than that. I don't know what happens.
If we don't see you on Monday morning, we're going to be real nervous. Make sure you text us over the weekend so we know your apartment didn't burn down. All right. Me and Tyler are going to be back. Is it you tomorrow, Tyler?
Yep. I'll be with you.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
So me and you will be back tomorrow night for the game 1 post game following Kauffman Stadium in Taiwan. Walker.
He's back.
Yay. If you want to make some money, just bet the Royals tomorrow night. Bet Bobby Witt Jr. to have, I don't know, 4 or 5 bases or something. He's probably a lock for it. So for Renee, for Tyler, myself, thank you for hanging out with us. Go Phils.
Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.